The built-in pivot table style gallery contains a lot of good color schemes, but they are by design somewhat generic. When you want to create your own pivot table style to reflect your personal aesthetic or your company's graphic art guidelines, you can do so using the new Pivot Table Quick Style dialog box. To display that dialog box, click any pivot table cell, and then on the Design tab of the ribbon, click the More button at the bottom right corner of the Pivot Table Styles gallery, and then click New Pivot Table Style. The first thing you should do is type a name for your new pivot table style. So if you were creating a style to reflect your company's graphic standards, you could call it something like Graphics Standards 2011. Next, you click the table element you want to change, and then click the Format button to display the formatting tools to apply to that element. So for example, let's say that I want to change the header rows formatting. To do that, I click the header row table element from the list, and then click Format. Then this is the familiar Format Cells dialog box. You can change any aspect of the formatting that you want. So in this case, we'll make the font style bold and the color white. So to do that and to have the text show up, we need to have a dark background. So we'll click Fill, and then I'll select purple. When I'm done in the Format Cells dialog box, I can click OK. And when I do, Excel displays a preview of what my style would look like after I save it. That's the only change I'll make, but you can make changes to any other elements that you like. Just feel free to experiment using the elements in the table element list. When you're ready, go ahead and click OK, and you have created your style. To apply that style, click the More button on the Design Contextual tab, and you'll see your new style at the top of the list in the Custom area. To apply it, just click the style, and Excel applies it to your pivot table. If you want to edit a custom style, just right-click it within the gallery. So click the More button to display the entire gallery, and then right-click your style, and then click Modify. The Modify Pivot Table Quick Style dialog box is essentially the same in all but name as the Create Pivot Table Quick Style dialog box. So for example, let's say that I wanted to add a second row stripe. To do that, I can click Second Row Stripe, click Format, and I'll make every second row a dusty purple. So I've selected the color that I want, click OK, and we see the preview here. Click OK. Now you'll notice that even though I edited the style, the second row stripe doesn't appear, and that's because the banded rows option isn't turned on. So when I go up to the Design tab and check the banded rows box, Excel applies the full style, which includes the second row stripe that I defined when I modified the pivot table style. Now let's say that you want to edit a built-in style. You actually can't, but what you can do is duplicate an existing style and then make changes based on the duplicate. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to create a style that was based on Pivot Style Light 1. To do that, I right-click the style that I want to work with, and then click Duplicate. When I do, Excel creates a new style, and I can change its name, change any of its values, any of its formatting, and so on. It's exactly the same as creating or modifying another pivot table style, so I won't work through all the details. When you're done, you can click OK to save your changes, or do as I will do, which is click Cancel to exit the dialog box without saving your changes. If you want to delete a custom pivot table style, you can right-click the style, and this is the custom style I created earlier, and then on the shortcut menu that appears, click Delete. Excel asks if you're sure, and you can click OK. When you do, Excel reverts to the previous style applied to the pivot table. Now finally, if you want to remove all formatting from your pivot table, click any cell in the pivot table, and then on the Design Contextual tab, click the More button at the bottom right corner of the Pivot Styles gallery, and then click Clear. Excel gives you the tools to control exactly how your pivot table appears in your workbook. Creating your own formats enables you to control how your pivot table appears in your company's documents and presentations, enhancing your corporate identity while making the data easier for viewers to comprehend.